um, that was an unfortunate incident, and unfortunately, I would say it's been my reality as a person of color driving on the Hammons Plains Road. Um, Beyond my imagination, some people would say that it's a figment of my imagination. Leonard is just paranoid. Some people may dismiss it as saying, oh, he's just a bad driver. Why are they always bringing race into it? There they go again, playing the race card. But I would say to you that race is not a card that we play. It's a life that we live. I have written here that there will never be enough proof for those who don't want to believe. Again, we can have the Wortley report, we can have statistics, we can have stats. There have been data, there's been data presented that Black males are 4 times more likely. Even one of their stats said that people of color make up 40% of their stops. We make up 3% of the population. And so I don't have a degree in math, but I know 1 + 1 is 2. And so I want to know, how does 3% of the population make up 40% of your stops? But you asked me to tell the story. So the story is, I'm driving with my son, Micah, we're cruising. And a side note, I also had to change my vehicle. And I haven't been stopped since. I have a new vehicle. But in that vehicle, the Lexus I used to drive, it was a marked vehicle. And Micah and I were in front of Glen Arbor, right at that set of lights. The Glen Arbor is on my right. The Hammons Plains Fire Department is on my left. We are at the red light. It turns green. We're going to Pepper Tony's and for some pizza. And I press the gas, and again, woo, 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 woo. And here we go again. It's I'm embarrassed to say that in that moment, my heart began, my voice began. I already have a stammer, but I felt in front of my son that looked at me like a little kid. In that moment, I just felt so inferior, and I don't know. It's not that I'm scared of authority. I thank God for police officers, those that protect our communities and fight for justice and for our safety and defend our rights. We thank God for those that put their lives on the line every single day. But Micah has been with me more times than enough to witness this unfair treatment. And so roll down the window, we go through the routine. Yes, sir. Hello, sir. And again, as oh, you were speeding. I said, how do you speed moving from a red light? Oh, you had your cell phone in your hand. And Micah just looked at me and said, Dad, the cell phone is in my hand. But in that moment, I took the ticket from the police officer, and I drove away. And the look that Micah gave me, like, it was such a look of disappointment. Like, Dad, you tell us to fight for our rights. You tell us to stand up for what is right. You tell us to address, to break the silence, and you're not going to do anything. I felt this small that I don't want my son to have an anxiety when they see police officers. I want them that if they're in trouble to run to police officers, but I don't want them to be jarred by all these experiences. And so I retold the story to my wife, and she said, you need to teach them the lesson, to stand for what is right, to own your voice, to speak your truth. And so I decided to protest the ticket. And I went to the court in the evening, to the courthouse down on Spring Garden Road. The judge threw out the whole thing because there was no evidence to support it. And I walked home feeling, thank you, Micah, for convicting me, not to be a hypocrite, to say one thing and do another. But I told you, Micah, we can create meaningful change when we address the systemic. And so I've been working with HRP. They have me in every other month. They have a program now called Journey to Change, where many of their officers, and is not punitive. It's not like punishment. You're done. You've done bad. You have to attend this course with Reverend Anderson. But no, for those that really want to get it, for those that want to have an aha moment and to increase their awareness of the real trauma and tragedy, and to address that we do have a problem. We have the stats now to prove that there is a problem here. And that when the relationship is broken, everyone suffers. This is not a problem that people of color have created. This is a problem we have endured. And so I'm part of the journey to change with HIP. I'm so glad to be there. It's still a struggle, to be honest, with our CMP, because their most senior officers have publicly announced that there's no such thing as systemic racism. And so it's hard to have these courageous conversations with those who are not willing to acknowledge and admit that that racism is in the fabric of our structures. Yeah, that's the story. I don't know if it's as good as the first time I told it, but sorry about that.